Give it up for Lost in Thought. Just let your soul glow. Feel it oh so silky smooth.
I should have pulled up the Afro Sheen commercial.
Afro Sheen?
No, keep going.
Never mind.
Come on.
Stop now. He's not white.
I have pants older than you.
Reunion. So, requested shit.
Requested shit.
So, this is a book called The Blind Eye by Miss Janet Kuipers over there.
It's by cc&d magazine.
By cc&d magazine.
Yeah.
It's a weekly print. I'm sure she'll tell you more about it when she's up here. But she requested I do a piece that is published within it. This is more the abridged version, and this is the new version. It's concerning the Orlando tragedy long while ago. Well, not too long ago, but I mean, terrible, terrible tragedy. With so much to say, so much to think about, and so much to feel for, I've been hearing the poetry, the works, and the comments pulled about of the carnage tearing into our heartstrings and snapping them up as violin wire bound up into our throats as we crowd these panic attacks and enraged sobs and memory of so many lost, and in tragic respect given to those that have to carry the physical and mental wounds deep into their bones and blood, all the way into their broken souls they try to keep intact inside their shaking palms. In an immediate moment of well-meaning, I tried to write a response piece to find words to this one-night genocide built on the fury of hate, just to hate. I could have written about the people, the customers at work, and the friends of friends on Facebook being vicious enough to use this as an ammunition for their own views. Good old boys raising up their hands to God, to the same God that they seek forgiveness and acceptance from, and then split their tongues open in narcissistic blades, searing into this pain made like hypocritical love lust that they can't help but to taste as delicious and say, they're not gonna take my guns. Politicians stripping it bare of any emotion and of the hard effects it's had on our heart, slapping it up on their podiums as this vapid object that they can insert their own opinions in, manufactured by what the public wants to hear. And they spit out, and what they spit out are not genuine apologies, but this snake-like ticker tape that flicks from their mouths while they pander to our vulnerabilities, which are still fresh and bleeding on American soil. All of these different sides we can all be guilty of, letting the flames of fury and deep sadness take a slice of red dark over our eyes, infusing this very thick and very emotional and difficult and troubled wall into them, slipping into our heads like madness that cries alone in the night, caged and confused in a rusted cell where all we can hear and see are conservatives are limited in their thinking, and empty liberals should tape their mouths shut. The club scene is dangerous, being gay is wrong. Bible thumpers should learn acceptance and tolerance. Let's get rid of all the closed-minded people. And all of these words and views and hatred and rage and suspicion building up this tornado flying around us. There's so much debris and objects in the way, making it difficult for us to see. I could have written about being an openly gay man and suddenly having a target callously drawn over my skin in crude war paint dipped into buckets of fear and misunderstanding every time I want to speak openly or hold another man's hand in public, or how any action I could take to embody that part of my life being ripped open and sloppily put back together in the eyes of monsters waiting to see an open meal out in the wild, and they want to be the big man by taking a shot at me. And how I still find it terrifying to ask a guy out that I'm attracted to because I've nearly choked on the bitter, salty aftertaste of rejection, either by circumstance, the other guy just not interested for various reasons, or my own self-sabotage, and now I've got this to deal with. And that I have all these emotions and feelings and fears and hopes and desires that these innocent people that were feeling that night. And how it was just another night of being fun, wanting, chaotic, and fragile. And everything that makes the human condition tick until these lives became hell, and all of these feelings were wasted because they don't live here anymore. I could have written about how it was an insane madman's dream and everyone else's nightmare in Aurora during the Dark Knight Rises screening. How sad and bleak it was when it happened in a church in Charleston, South Carolina. And how cruel and one-sided and vicious and cowardly it was in Orlando. How easy it is for some people to take lives because they take it upon themselves to determine that we shouldn't live as ourselves, that our skin color is wrong, that we're just these tiny little toys in some deeply disturbed individual's mindset, and how we can get snuffed out in a second because we were just being as human as they were, except they decided it was their turn to be God and play with lives. I could have written about the theory that this man had replaced true sentiment with bullets, that he felt claustrophobic because he had to hide among family whose views could have remained stubborn in a society where as much progress as we have made, homosexuality can still be this thing, this odd, unusual thing that many remain either tight-lipped about, sewing up their mouths with a threaded consciousness that is falsely proclaimed as acceptable in table manner handbooks, or how to be proper in society, or being vocal and malicious and just evil as the killers that rampage our society, and how it is 2016! And we are still talking about gay rights, transgender rights, gender rights, and civil rights, as if the world hasn't moved on at all. I could have written about how the club scene hasn't changed. How some guys still have measuring tape lodged in the back of their eyes, passing judgment on other guys that they perceive as odd or weird. And whereas, yes, you should use instinct to avoid possible threats, but we're still using our cell phones and significant others as an easy escape from those we've already determined as someone we can say goodbye to. No one wants to be the guy other people avoid. Sometimes evil is just born. Other times, we create it. Through the convenience of our culture, diminishing people through our dating apps like window shopping. I could have written about all of this, but the fact remains that people are dead, and that there are still many that live and had to live with these wounds in their heart and on their bodies, coming back from wars and battlegrounds that shouldn't have been the place to make casualties happen. But we can see past the storm, and yes, we should speak up and speak out, and yes, we should find ways for this not to happen again, and yes, we should keep ourselves open, because in each of these situations, I'm confident that there could have been someone to prevent this from happening. It can sometimes be easy for us to be complacent and accept things as they are. But we should work together on accepting who each of us are, and stop seeing what can be so bad in one another. Work openly to find ways to stop each other from dying off. Put together events. Raise awareness, make laws, enjoy what time we have left in between, and God damn it, live. For those who can't, be unafraid of these cruel beasts that want us to fear them, because they don't have what it takes to live this life and survive, because life is already hard enough.